good morning, and I think depending on where you are, it's actually good afternoon and also good evening, right? So I know we have participants coming from Austria, Korea.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's afternoon over there, right? It's
2 o'clock
yeah,
p.m.
2 p.m. in Austria, so not too bad. In South Korea, it's actually I think 10 p.m. right now. So yeah, it's a little later at night. In the US, it's 9 a.m. So we're good. I'm a morning person, so it's great. And thank you so much, first of all, for joining me this morning. Oh, we have Debbie. Okay, good. And my full name is Jung Woo Ryu, but I also go by JR. So please feel free to call me JR. I am one of the co-chairs of this conference, ICSSA 2020, and I'm also professor of information sciences and technology at Penn State, and also the head of our division. It's called Business Engineering and Information Sciences and Technology at Penn State Altoona. So the acronym is interesting. It's BEAST, BEIST. So we are the Beast. So I hope that you're staying safe and healthy despite the pandemic going on around us these days. And our conference usually occurs in August, but we had to postpone it due to COVID-19, as you know, to October. And this is actually our first time doing it virtually, but this new format hopefully will provide us with even more participation, from uh, people all around the world. So we originally planned to have our conference at our beautiful Penn State Altoona campus. So let me advance my slide. Are you able to see my slides, by the way? Just checking. Anybody? Dr.
Yes.
Ridby, you're able to see my slide okay? Yeah.
Yes, we do.
So this is what you're missing out. I mean, you could have been on our campus, and you could have spent some time, walking around the campus, enjoying the weather and everything. And my hope is we can do an in-person conference hopefully next year, 2021, and maybe we can try this again at Penn State, but we're not able to do it this time. Our first conference was held in, as you can see in the photo there, 2015. It was in Seoul, South Korea. Seoul is the capital of South Korea, as you know, at the university called Sangyungan University. Sangyungan University is one of those renowned universities in South Korea. And I was a visiting professor at SKKU at that time, and Professor Kim, who is our keynote speaker today, was my host, and we were just contemplating on how to best spend my time at SKKU, and we came up with this idea of hosting a conference at SKKU. So that's how we actually got started with the conference in 2015. At that time, we realized that the software security community was focusing too much on very narrow aspects, especially in, I would say, testing. Yeah. So the security one of the security aspects, which is testing, and we really wanted to create a conference solely focusing or concentrating on software security and assurance to explore, I would say, broader aspects rather than just focusing on testing. And since then, of course, we've come a long way, and As you can see in our program, the current program, and also in the proceedings, the previous proceedings of our conference, the educators, researchers, and the practitioners in software security and assurance industries are now considering much broader aspects of software security and assurance, and they're really trying to build security in all these different phases in software development. So we're just very proud, to be part of this effort, and I'm also very glad and proud that our conference is one of the pioneers in terms of examining all these many different aspects of software security and assurance. So that's sort of the background of our conference. And you can see all the topics we're covering, as a conference. And there's so many different topics there. And I really like the diversity, and hopefully the list grows, and hopefully we get more participation in our future conferences. So here I present the goal of our conference. It says to provide a forum for educators, researchers, and practitioners to present and exchange the latest and the greatest developments in software security and assurance. So it's a great opportunity for us to get together as researchers, practitioners, and educators and talk about what we love, in this case, software security and assurance. And I'm just feeling so fortunate that we're able to do this again this year. And another goal we have is also to educate our future software security professionals. We're teaching these days as faculty members, and one very unique feature of our conference is to offer these summer schools. So last year, you can see the photo over there, we did our summer school in Austria, and we visited this data center in Austria, and I think it was T-Mobile. So that was great visit, and students really enjoyed our summer school. Unfortunately, just because of the circumstances this year, we are not able to offer our summer school, but we're hoping that we'll be able to do our summer school again next year. So I was going through some of these photos in preparation for my opening remarks this morning, and yeah, we've come a long way, and we have done already 5 different conferences in the past. The first one in Seoul, South Korea, the second one in St. Pölten, Austria, the third one, Altoona, in the US, and so on. So we take turns, as you can see, because the general chairs, co-chairs, are from these 3 different places: South Korea, Austria, and the US. So we get to travel to Asia, Europe, and the US every year, which is great. And year 2020 happens to be a virtual conference, but hopefully next year we're able to do an in-person conference. So let me introduce the other co-chairs of the conference. So I already introduced myself. I go by JR. I'm one of the co-chairs, and we have Dr. Choa, Simon Choa, who is another co-chair of the conference. He's a professor at the St. Pölten University of Applied Sciences in Austria. And then we have our co-chair from South Korea, Dr. Hyung-Sik Kim. He's an associate professor at Sungkyunkwan University in Seoul, South Korea. And Our program chair this year is Dr. Risby. Dr. Risby, can you turn your camera on? Hello, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Very good. So he's our associate professor of IST at Penn State Altoona, and he's been busy helping organizing our conference this year. And we also had 12 program committee members who've been reviewing our papers and so on. But Dr. Risby, I mean, is there anything you want to share or you want to make some comments about the program this year in general?
Yeah, so this year, even though, we're going through this pandemic, but we have received quite a few papers and people showed a lot of interest
Mm-hmm.
in our conference as usual. And I believe because we went virtual and before summer,
Mm-hmm.
some of the papers were, people, you know, they decided to probably participate next year, but we still have some very you can see the diversity in our
Mm-hmm.
accepted research paper within software security.
Mm-hmm.
And these 3 days, including today, you're going to see some very good discussion, I'm hoping,
Mm-hmm.
on different aspect of software security, as you said.
Yeah, I think
So,
the topics are very interesting, and
yeah.
we were talking about earlier. We were talking about blockchains and those types of things, and those are like cutting edge, emerging, topics in cybersecurity. But it's also interesting to see how those things are getting incorporated into software security and assurance. So it's great. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Risby. Okay, moving on. And I also want to thank our conference staff, and in this case, so every time we do this conference, we have to get our technical sponsorship from IEEE, and there's a lot of, I would say, overhead, administrative overhead we have to take care of, and I mean, setting up, of course, the conference website, registration, related mechanisms and proceedings. I mean, not really proceedings there too much, but the program. I mean, we are the program chair and I were in charge of proceedings, but there are a lot of these things to take care of. So our conference staff have really helped us making that happen. And I think Debbie is here. So Debbie Flagg is our adult enrollment coordinator at Penn State Altoona. And we have two other people, Cindy Royal and Jack Sinclair. So they all helped us a lot with the conference. So I just wanted to thank them. And Debbie, would you say just a few words? I know I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit, but I know you can do it.
Thank you. You do this a lot to me.
Yeah.
I just want to say welcome. We're really bummed that you guys can't be here at Penn State Altoona. We were looking forward to seeing everybody. We had met several people when we did this conference 3 years ago, and we're hoping to reconnect with the individuals we spent time with then. So we just want to welcome you. We hope you have a great conference. Jack and Cindy are not here today. We, due to COVID, we got to keep our social distancing, so we kind of take turns being here in the office. But we do want to welcome everybody to the conference, and if you need anything, just let us know. And at the end, the certificates will be both emailed as well as mailed out, as well as the program. So if you have anything special, let us know, and I'll hand it back to Jungwoo.
Thank you so much, Debbie. And yeah, as Debbie said, we're thinking about sending you some souvenirs and our printed program once the conference is over, so that you have something to hold on to, just to remember our conference. So that's something coming up. Oh, maybe there are a couple more things I need to talk about with our program chair a little later, but let me move on to our next slide. And as usual, we have our technical sponsor, which is IEEE Computer Society, and they'll also help us publish our proceedings, and you will get some additional communications from our program chair later this year regarding how to upload your camera ready paper versions and so on, and signing the copyright forms and so on. So I just wanted to remind you of that a little bit. Our sponsors this year, financial sponsors this year, include Penn State Altoona, St. Paulton University of Applied Sciences, Sungkyunkwan University, and Seoul Women's University. So I want to thank our financial sponsors again this year, and hope to grow our conference together with our sponsors next year. Thank you so much for sponsoring our conference. And before we get started, I just wanted to share some tips regarding how to use our Zoom platform today. And I know you're doing this very well right now because everybody's muted, but when you're not talking, let's make sure we are muted. And I'm not quite sure about what to do with our camera, especially the video piece, because I think it's nice to be able to see people while we're talking. So right now, for example, I'm giving a welcome remarks here, and like everybody turned off their camera. So it's almost like talking to a brick wall. So I think it would be nice to have some people, at least some of you, turn your cameras on, because that way the speakers will feel more like, engaging people and so on. So let's see what we can do when we actually have these sessions later on. Let's make sure at least some of our cameras are turned on. And I'm also letting you know that we're recording all the sessions. So if you feel uncomfortable with being recorded, of course you can have your camera turned off. So that's an option. And if you have any questions during the presentation or after presentation, you can use this raise hand feature of Zoom, or you can just leave your comments or questions in the chat window. Okay, so let's make this our protocol for the rest of the conference. So that pretty much concludes my welcome remarks, and I didn't mean it to be this long. I mean, like, I've been talking 20 minutes. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I guess I'm one of those college professors who can talk forever. But thank you again for attending this conference, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you more throughout the day today, and also the next 2 days of our conference. And yeah, there was one thing, actually a couple things I wanted to discuss with Dr. Risby about the conference.
Can you please just mention about the board that we have?
That's what I was, that's exactly what I was going to say. So, yeah, so Dr. Risby just reminded me of this, and we are going to be presenting 2 awards this time, as usual. So one is Best Paper, another one is Best Student Presentation. So throughout the conference, we'll be monitoring all the talks, and we'll try to evaluate each talk, and eventually we'll come up with our consensus on who's going to be the best paper winner and also best student presentation winner. So that's something I wanted to share earlier. Yes.